we see it in a stream going like this. He doesn't. And so to him, all are alive. And that's the point I was trying to make, and I forgot to give you this verse. That verse confirms that to God, everybody is alive right now. There's no change in him. He knows everything that's going on. Abraham is alive to God as I am right now. Okay? And as I said, we have time, space, and matter, and then we have the past, present, and future. And he was confirming that right in that sentence there. He's saying that everybody's alive to him right now. And then in the future, we're going to understand these things, and the resurrection will occur, and then we'll be alive again, even though we're alive now, we're going to die. But to him, they're all alive all the time. Anyway, somebody read John 8:58, and this is just to confirm Exodus 3:14, which we talked about last week.
And Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am.
I am, right? So he's saying, I am the guy. Now, I want you to understand something. You will hear pastors stand up and they'll say, that is in the emphatic Greek, and the word in Greek is ego eimi. Okay, that's what he says, ego eimi. It's like saying emphatically, I am this person. All right, and they translate it with capital letters in our Bible, I am, and a Jehovah's Witness, they don't. Okay, now, they will say, this proves that Jesus was saying, I am. Okay, guess what? Remember the guy that Jesus healed at the pool of Siloam, and they said, it's not him, and it is him, and he says, it's me. Remember he said that? He used the exact same term, ego eimi. So, is he saying he's the great I am? No. So be careful when you listen to pastors get all flowery about that particular passage, that you understand it doesn't prove anything. But because Jesus said it, and the next verse, read the next couple verses after that. Go ahead. Oh, okay, 8:58, if anybody is there, just read after 8:58. Go to 8:59 or whatever. And this is what proves what the pastors are trying to prove. Okay, go ahead. 8:59 and then maybe 60, I'll tell you.
At that they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus was hidden and went out of the temple.
Okay, did anybody pick up stones to stone the guy that says, it was me, he healed me? No, because they knew he wasn't saying it in his language, Aramaic or Hebrew. He wasn't saying, I am God. But they picked up stones to stone Jesus because he says, I am. And the only way to translate that into Greek, which is what the New Testament was written in, was to say, ego eimi, okay, which is the same as saying, it really is me. But they understood it differently because they picked up stones to stone him. So that confirms what the verse in itself doesn't confirm. Everybody got that? All right. So, I am. Jesus is saying, and then what does he say? He says it 7 more times. I am the good shepherd, okay? Right? Well, who else is the good shepherd in the Bible? King David, right? And I am, he's saying, the Lord is my shepherd. I'm sorry, King David didn't say I'm the shepherd. He said, the Lord is my shepherd. And then Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. And then he says, I am the true vine. Well, Israel's called the vine, right? So he's saying, I am the true Israel. And then he says, I am the bread of life. Well, the Bible, this is like bread, our bread, or necessary food, and the manna from heaven, right? And all this stuff. He's saying, I am the fulfillment of that. And I am the bread, I am the water of life, I think is one. There's 7 times he says it, and I wish I'd written them down before I came in here, but I just thought of it right now. Anyway, so he is confirming all of these Old Testament symbolisms in himself. All right, I am the good vine, I am the shepherd, the good shepherd, I'm the light. All right, and that light goes right back to Genesis, I think 1:2, which we'll get to in a couple months. Anyway, so we have the creation confirmed there, and then this is what we're talking about with John 8:58 and Luke 20:38, or what we just read, just so you have those from last week. All right, now when Jay asked about creation, he said, was it 6,000 years or is it 6 billion years? And each one of these are possible. Are you okay? Can I get you some water or anything?
I'm sorry.
No, I just want you... Oh, you're sneezing. I thought you were coughing. Okay. There are good possible answers to any type of creation. Long-term creation, 6 billion years, right? There are people that can say, yeah, it's 6 billion years old. And they can do it, and they can justify what they believe. It's called long-term creation. God created, and it just took a long time. Then you have short-term creation, 6 literal days. And I'm saying people that believe in the Bible will use both of these arguments. And then you have what's called, the third one is so goofy, I did a whole report on it, and I just can't even, it's saying that evolution is true, There's a term, though, and I wish evolutionary something. Anyway, God created, but it supports evolution. What?
What do they call it? Creative evolution?
Creation evolution or evolutionary creation or something. Anyway, it is the third one. It is not an option, and I'm going to tell you that right now. Some Christians hold on to it. It is not an option. The Bible doesn't allow it. They have to misuse the Bible in order to come. And I'll get the name of it, the actual name, but it's very close to what you said, creative evolution or something. The Bible doesn't support that in any way. Believe me. I wish I'd brought my college report in and shown it to you, but I didn't even think of it. But progressive, no.
Not theistic.
Theistic evolution. That's exactly what it is. Thank you. Oh, it's so goofy that I just downloaded the information from my mind, but that's exactly what it is. Theistic evolution. God, theos is God, theistic. Okay, so God creation or evolution. He allowed evolution through his model. The Bible doesn't support it in any way. And then we have another kind of insert that God created everything, he destroyed everything, and then he recreated everything. This is recreation. And this people will get from the King James Version. If you have that, is that what you're reading? No. Are you reading the King James Version? Yeah. No, okay, because because you said verily, verily earlier, and so I thought you were. Anyway, before we go on, verily, verily, does anybody know what that's translated from? Amen, amen. So when you read verily, verily in the King James or truly, truly, it's just amen, amen. Truth I say, okay? Anyway, just so you know, a little factoid. The King James Version will say in a couple verses we're going to talk about, it's going to say God replenished the earth. And so people have come up with an entire theology of God creating, and then Satan ruled the whole world and everything, and they actually come out with Cain having been born of Satan and Eve. It's insane. And then it goes all the way through, and they justify it by what it says about Cain in Jude, where the son of the wicked one, and it's crazy. It is nutty. And some people have sat in this class that have brought that up, and they're adamant about it, because that's what they were taught, and they're not willing to think it through. The word replenish, when it was written in the King James Version, meant to fill. Okay, it didn't mean to replenish as we think today. But anyway, besides that, the doctrine came out in about 1860 or so. I believe it was a Presbyterian minister. But anyway, people started to get scared because of Darwinism. Okay, and there's all of this proof that Darwinism is true. And so we've been wrong, and now we have to adjust our theology or we're going to lose the money people are giving us. I'm sure that's what it came down to. And so he wrote this entire thing. And he literally, pages and pages and pages of nut job stuff being filled in from that early part of the Bible, like 3 sentences. It is crazy. So don't believe that one. But there is long-term creation and there's short-term creation. When we were in Israel, Gerard Schroeder held to long-term creation. Now, he's a Jewish guy. He's not a Christian, but as I said, he's one of the guys that helped develop our thermonuclear program here in America, and he retired in Israel, and one of the smartest guys you'll ever speak to. And he has a theory which is very, very unusual, that God really created in 6 days. I'm going to blow this, but kind of try to follow it. God creates here from going out. And light is going out here. Now, he says something, and the light takes off, and it goes out at whatever, 186,500 feet per second, or whatever light does, okay? And then he does it again a second later. But because this is already out here, this one comes out not as far. And then the next one, so these days, these 7 days, actually spread out. And he did the calculation. It's amazing. It came out to like 15,862,922 years or something. Just by this point being stretched out by light. So God really created 6 days here, but we perceive it here as 15 or almost 16 billion years. Do you see what I'm saying? And mathematically, it works. Okay? So that would solve both problems. The 6-day creation and the light. Where the light is coming from, the stars that we know the universe is 6 billion years old, or 16 billion years old based on this. And the age of things, because as this stuff is going out, it's aging, and so the world looks 16 billion years old or whatever, however old. And he can prove that mathematically. Okay? Now, I have a problem with it. I sat down and went through it in my own head. I do have a problem with it. Concerning this exact same thing, though, I want you to understand that creationists will manipulate things as well. Okay, and they will say that, like the halo signature. I was talking to you about the decay of uranium, or there's different. Polonium is one of them that decays very quickly. A different part of polonium will decay slower, and they say that there is granite on Earth that has, I think it's polonium-238 halos. Now, a halo is, as radioactive material is breaking down, it makes a signature, and if it is in a rock, this halo you'll be able to see this halo in the rock because it's breaking down as it's in granite, okay? And now, I'm not sure I believe this, but you can argue for or against it. They have polonium-238 signatures, and polonium-238 breaks down in like 0.2 seconds or something. And so all the granite on Earth is actually created instantly. It's not billions of years old the way they teach. So people will argue these things. Are they telling the truth or aren't they? I have no idea because I don't know anything about polonium-238. I don't know anything about granite, but they will say this is true. But what I'm trying to tell you is that people will say things in Christian circles that may not be true simply to justify their position. So I don't know the answer to the polonium-238, and I'm not going to talk about it other than to say that they're doing this. But I do know some creation things that people will say that are not true. And I know that. I've read them, and once again, I've downloaded all that information, but I've read it and I've thought, I just don't need to go to the site anymore because I know what they're saying isn't true. So people on both sides are fudging things to justify their own position. So is the world 6,000 years old? Was it created in 6 days, and has it been 6,000 years since Adam? Or is the world 6 billion years old? According to Gerhard Schroeder, very good mathematical calculations, 16 billion years old, and it was done in 6 days. Okay. I will tell you that, however, regardless of this and regardless of long-term creation, I will tell you that the Bible supports one and only one type of creation. Okay? It supports a literal 6-day creation. Now, before we go into it, the word yom is used. And we're going to get into these verses, but we're talking about creation, so we might as well get this out of the way. The word yom is used, like Yom Kippur. You've all heard of the Day of Atonement. All right, yom means day. All right, and they will say that this literally means, and I've heard, big seminarians stand up and, pastors and people on Christian TV, and they'll say a day is a day. It means a day, and therefore it is a day. Well, that's dishonest too, because the day of the Lord is yom in Hebrew, right? And it says the day of the Lord, and it's talking about a period of time. Or, a day to the Lord is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. That's Psalm 94, I think, and then 2 Peter 3:8 says it again. Anyway, the word yom is used, and it's saying it's like 1,000 years, okay? So all of a sudden, a yom doesn't really mean a yom that we're thinking of, okay? However, we're going to get into creation now. I'll tell you what, we're going to get into it as we go, rather than talking about that now. But I will give you a couple things against that I've thought through about creation. Rather than getting into the God created this light on this day, we'll do that in a minute. We have, here is J.R. Church. Anybody ever watch J.R. Church? He's out in Oklahoma, and he does prophecy in the news. He gets into a lot of goofy stuff, but he's a Baptist minister, and he loves the Lord, but he gets into things that are really goofy. But one thing he did is, and I heard about this program through J.R. Church, is the Starry Night program. Okay, you can go and you can download Starry Night into your computer, and it will show you, suppose you are from Madison, Wisconsin, and you want to see what the stars looked like above your home in Madison, Wisconsin on the day you were born. You can do it. Or if you want to see what the stars looked like above Jerusalem on the day of creation, you can do it. Okay? So it's just it shows you positions on Earth, right? And then what the stars would look like, and you just backdate it, and it tells you. So, Starry Night program, he went for a different thing. He wanted to know what the stars looked like on the day of creation. So he hit this thing 6,000 times to get him back 6,000 years or whatever. And so he wanted to see what it looked like above Jerusalem, and he was doing that based on what it said in the blessing of Joseph of his sons. The scepter shall not depart from Judah until Shiloh comes, right? Anyway, and so he's looking for the scepter, which is Regulus, or one of these stars, being between the paws of Judah in the constellation, right? The lion. So that's what he was looking for, to see if that really matched, and when would that happen? When would that disappear? I have no idea if what he said was true, but that's what he did, or he said he did.